We've made up our minds. We're going to do new. Do something else. Do more. Do the impossible. Do better. Do good. Do big. Do small. Do it wrong. Do it again. Do it ourselves. Do it together. Do what no one else has done. Do what will become big. Do the same. Do different. Do everything. Do something.
Hello, and welcome to today's webinar from Linköping University. Today we're going to talk about our master program in Biomedical Engineering. I'm Karina Sjöberg, working at International Student Recruitment, and I'm here today with a study counselor and a former student, and we will guide you today. First, some practicalities. This webinar will be recorded and will be put on our website afterwards. The first part will concern general information, the curriculum, etc. And the second part is a live Q&A part. So after about 20-25 minutes, we will go live, and who are attending, you will be able to enter your questions in the questions box. So once again, very welcome. So today I have the study counselor with me. Maybe you could start introducing yourself.
Hi, my name is Marcus Larsson. I am a teacher and also head of undergraduate studies at the Department of Biomedical Engineering, and I am heavily involved in the BME program here at LIU.
Okay, lovely. And you are?
Yeah, I'm Alfredo Ordinola. I used to be a master's student back in 2019. Then I graduated, and now I'm doing a PhD at the Department of Biomedical Engineering.
Lovely. So I thought we'd start with some general information on the program. So Marcus, what would you say? How would this program set us apart from other similar programs?
It's a program that is very cross-disciplinary in some sense, very practical in some sense, but also theoretical. You work very close to medical doctors. But you are in an engineering environment. You are doing programming, you are doing signal processing, image analysis, designing hardware, for instance, in some of the project courses. So it's hands-on, but also theoretical and cross-disciplinary.
Okay, yeah. How is it structured? I think we should have the curriculum here, maybe.
It's a 2-year program, split it into 4 periods for the first year and 4 periods the second year. And the first year is mainly mandatory courses. There are some options to read, for instance, neural networks, which is a very highly appreciated course during the first year in semester 2. And then the second year, there is electable courses throughout that year. We have the, for instance, image processing courses towards visualization, biomedical optics, where you kind of probe the tissue with light and draw conclusions from that, modeling, biomaterials, biomechanics, and so on. And you typically select 2.5 courses per period, and some of these courses span 2 periods.
Okay.
And then we finish up with a master thesis work the last half year.
So if I understand you right, you choose a specialization in the second year.
You choose courses that kind of, you can have different kind of tracks. You can be focused on image processing or more traditional signal processing or informatics, for instance.
And if I was into medical imaging, could you give me some examples of companies where I could work or companies that are involved with the students?
Yeah, we have a company here in Linköping, for instance, Sectra, which is a very big company. But we also have other types of companies, context vision and synthetic MR, and AMRA, for instance.
Are you, as a PhD student, are you working with any companies?
No, personally, no. I do a lot of theoretical and research focused, at least in my field. But I would love to eventually, if the project allows, at least.
Yeah. Lovely to hear. So, as a master student, what can you describe a typical week as a student?
Yeah, at least for the first year, because like I said, I came in 2019, so
Yeah.
COVID started in the second year. But the first year was pretty much classes in the mornings and a little bit on the afternoon. It was a bit of commuting between different campuses as well. We are located actually in the campus US, which is next to the hospital. So we do have some classes at Valla that we had to commute. So bikes are very important for that. But I would say a typical week would start around 8, 10 a.m. We have some lectures. We either meet around with some friends in between, and then we finish up with probably some labs or extra lectures up until 15 or 17, depending the day.
And I've heard that sometimes you have also evening labs. Is that right?
Yes, sometimes we do, since we use some of the installations in the hospital. So most of the time slots are open then, but it's definitely manageable.
What would you say about the workload?
I think it's a fair workload. I mean, we need to take into account or consider that this is a full-time master's program that we do need to put a fair amount of time to it. So I think for what is scheduled and what we are aiming for, it's definitely a fair workload.
Could you add something maybe on the workload?
It's definitely a full week's work, 40 hours. I think it's expected per week at least. It depends very much on your background. If you have very good skills in programming, you don't need to learn that, then you're kind of ahead of the other students. If you're good in math, you also have a bonus there, and physics as well. So it's kind of depending on what you come with in kind of a previous education. Very much dependent, individualized dependent.
So would you say there are some common challenges that you've met a lot of students over the years as a study counselor? So what are the common challenges you see among the students?
And it's very dependent on where you come from. Some are really struggling with the programming. Some on the language. It's good to have a fair knowledge in English, written and both written and spoken English. Otherwise, that's kind of, I think we have a good experience with master students coming in here, learning the Swedish system and working. You often work in projects and smaller groups as well, where you kind of work side by side with the Swedish students who have attended a 5-year program, specialized in biomedical engineering from day one. So we mix those classes in student-centered learning groups with problem-based learning, and I think it works very good.
When it comes to challenges, you might have noticed something in the classroom or noticed for yourself over the years. What was hard? Do you remember the beginning?
I would say, at least in the beginning, it's kind of hard to crack into the sort of community that's already built in here, because we are basically joining classes of students that have known each other for at least 3 to 4 years. So it's a bit hard to sort of start a little bit of communication and stuff. But once you are through that wall, it's all good. And I definitely agree with Marcus, and I can have I also teach a little bit now. So the programming part of it, it's definitely a common challenge that we see. So it's really a really good advantage to come with that.
So if you have some electives in your last semester of your bachelor's, for example, then you would strongly recommend to focus on programming.
I would say so,
yeah, that's good.
And we talked earlier about the thesis project. How early should I start thinking about my thesis?
Should I start with that?
Yeah, you can start.
I think as early as you find something that you really are interested in. At least that's what I did personally. I really enjoyed one course very early on in the master's. And I just remember thinking, okay, I want to do this, and not only right now, but in the long run as well.
So that's why you went into research then, I
Precisely,
guess.
I met up with the professor in that course. We discussed some topics, and it was smooth sailing from there.
And you, from your perspective, how early?
Second year maybe, but if you're very eager to get into a company after you finish your studies, I would say it's good to early on try to contact companies, because many of our students do the master thesis work in collaboration with companies, and that is kind of, you get the first foot into that company in some sense. But we also have a very good experience, especially with master students doing their master thesis work at the department completely, more research oriented.
Is that in particular for those who are considering a future career as researcher?
Definitely. And in Sweden, it's kind of good to get your knowledgeable within a small area. If you plan on doing academic career, try to find the professor that you really want to work for. See if that professor has.
So you can find if there is a fit.
Yeah, exactly. I think that was basically what you did.
Yeah. I mean, it worked out pretty well for me, but that's why I suggested.
There has to be funding, of course, also. In order to be able to employ somebody. So when it comes then to the entry requirements, we were talking about English, and then not just fulfilling the entry requirements, such as 6.5 on average in IELTS or TOEFL 90, at least 90 out of 120, but also being able to use it in project work, for example. Could you develop a bit further there, maybe?
Yeah, it's definitely important to have a good level of English when you come here. It's a bit harder when there's someone, let's say, lacking in that aspect and you're doing some project group, either you're writing a report together or just discussing in the base groups. It gets quite challenging, but I think those entry requirements are quite fair, and everyone should at least have a good understanding of it.
Do you use problem-based learning in all courses, or are there certain courses where you use it?
Certain courses.
Okay.
For you who don't know what problem-based learning is, it's you kind of get together in a small group, typically 6 to 8 students. You focus on a specific situation, a topic, where you try to tackle that topic with problems that you try to solve. You kind of, after that session, you go home, read a lot, bunch of books, or maybe on the internet today, get back and try to solve those questions that you formulated. It's kind of very intriguing, especially when you can see the students get so enthusiastic about it. They really take part in their own learning process. That's thrilling.
Okay, and also when I look at the general entry requirements in order to enter biomedical engineering, I see that you can have quite a wide variety of engineering bachelor degrees. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. And biomedical engineering is very cross-disciplinary. You can kind of be into the medical image part, where you would like to kind of have that kind of background. While if you want to go into more classical, like signal processing or even databases, it's good to have different backgrounds, and especially in these projects that we have, where students come together with different knowledge, try to do so much more together than they can do alone.
So they complement each other.
They do, yeah.
And
I hope, right?
Yeah.
I
agree.
I had him in a project course.
Yeah,
That was great.
pretty well, I would say.
so I noticed that there are some specific requirements as well when it comes to mathematics and physics. So when I say this, I think it's important that those of you considering applying, it's important that you visit the program homepage and see what those courses are. And you have to have those courses in mathematics on your transcript of records. And if you do not, for example, have vector analysis, then you should upload the syllabus for the course where you've studied this. So this concerns in mathematics, linear algebra, statistical theory, vector calculus, and complex functions. And when it comes to physics, where you have to have 10 ECTS, and just so you can get an idea, 30 ECTS is 1 semester of full-time studies in a certain subject. And in physics, you have to have a course in mechanics. So check that on your transcript of records. So I thought we'd go on to student life. Why in the beginning did you choose Linköping University?
Well, first I was checking different programs, what they were about. I really like this one because the first year, at least you get a glimpse of different tracks or different types of courses. And I thought that was a great idea. Then I also liked the town, at least from what I could do my research from back home. I liked small towns with open spaces that are quite easy to access. And that's, I think, for me, was a really match.
You said earlier that everybody is biking, and that is totally right. get a bike. It's about 4 kilometers from town center to Campus Valla, where you are sometimes taking courses. But for you, I guess the main campus is the University Hospital campus.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is a bit perhaps further than most accommodations, at least for students, but it's nothing with a bike. It's like 10 minutes.
10 minutes by bike.
Hours.
So there's no distance here. Linköping, Norrköping metropolitan area is the 4th largest metropolitan area in Sweden. All in all, about 250,000 inhabitants, and Linköping is 165,000 inhabitants. And we have about 30,000 students. So you see a lot of bikes around here. So, is there something in particular that you wish you'd known before coming here?
Probably just the whole situation about accommodation would be great. Just have a little bit of introduction on that. I think things have changed since I originally moved here.
Mhm.
That, and perhaps a bit more information on the different student groups or unions that are around. There are a lot of them. Some of them that are very, very interesting or akin to different people. So having more information.
Have you got any spare time interest that you've done over the years?
Music is one of the main things. That, and also just open space, roaming around. And that's pretty much my thing.
Yeah. A lot of applicants actually choose Linköping because we're close to nature. I've heard a lot of students saying that. So how do you feel like living in Linköping?
It's been great so far. It's a bit different from what I come from. I come from the capital in my country. So there's a lot more cars, a lot more traffic and stuff. I enjoy a more of a quiet place, but also with the chances of hitting town every now and then. And it's fairly
about
close.
2 hours to Stockholm.
Yeah. It's super close to other like big central cities. So I've been having a good time here.
Lovely to hear. So is there anything you think that the students who apply should think about before, or anything that you would like to give them before applying?
No, I think it's most important you should follow your heart, of course. And biomedical engineering, to me, is not only heart like ECG, electrocardiography, but it's also that you kind of get to deal with one of the big challenges in society, how to treat the growing elderly population and come up with a solution to that. And engineering, biomedical engineering, is part of that solution. And I think that is super thrilling.
Thanks for those words. So we are now coming to an end. For those watching this recording, thank you both for all this information. We are going to stop the recording, and this webinar will be available on our streaming platforms afterwards. So thank you. And now is the second part of the webinar. For those of you attending live, we are here to help you with any questions you might have linked to your application, your thoughts about a master's studies, whatever we can help you with. So I would like to welcome Luke, my colleague, who would read out your questions.
Yes, indeed. Great. And thanks everyone for joining in already. I saw various countries of people from various countries joining, so great to see. You can write your questions at any time through the panel. As you can see, questions there, we can take them from the people live. If you're watching this through our platform, you can also write the questions if you're in the recording, by the way. And then we can still send them through to the staff of Linköping University. All right, let's go ahead. I saw a question from Hussein asking, mentioning I'm a fresh graduate and I have projects in the field. What are the requirements for the program? And maybe this has been answered already, but do you want to add anything to this? The requirements?
The requirements, well, my best advice is to go online to the program homepage and have a look at the specific requirements. As we said earlier, there are a multidisciplinarity when it comes to the backgrounds in engineering, but be sure to check that you have the courses in mathematics and the ones in physics. That is sometimes where some applicants miss out.
Okay, I've shared the link to the program in the chat. So there you can find actually these requirements as well. So go ahead and check that out, maybe at your own pace after the webinar. Next question from Saveli, if I say that right. Do you or other organizations offer any scholarships for international students to cover the master's program and possibly living expenses?
Yeah, we do. I can't say for sure. If you're looking for the best scholarships in Sweden, then you should have a look at the Swedish Institute website. They are actually top of the line. There, even cost of living is included. When it comes to Linköping University and this program, it's not yet been decided whether there will be any scholarships. For some of the engineering master programs, there are often 50% coverage of the tuition fee. Or do you have anything to add there?
No.
No. Usually it's 50% of the tuition fee, and then you have to cover the rest yourself. And furthermore, you should calculate around 920 euros or dollar per month as the cost of living. And this is what the Agency of Migration is expecting. So due to the present inflation, it might be that this sum will increase this year.
Okay. Hope that answered the question from Savali and others that were wondering about that. Thank you. Marina has a question. Which programming languages should I consider studying in order to prepare for this program?
I think you should handle this.
Sure. I think in most of our programs, at least in the courses, we tend to have a focus in MATLAB. It's pretty standard, I would say, but just as a preview, we are trying to transition into Python, which I think most of the university is doing anyway. So I would say focus on those two, and
okay,
you should have a smooth ride.
Do anything?
Yeah, and if you have knowledge with like C, C++, and similar languages, that is of course a great bonus. The transition to MATLAB is not that difficult. But it's kind of the most important is to have some knowledge in programming.
Yeah, so you have you're taught the mindset, no matter what programming language you have.
Exactly.
Actually,
Writing algorithms.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you very much. And we got the thumbs up. We just received that. So I hope that answered the question for Marina. Hannah is asking, aside from the general requirements, does the school have a special entry requirement?
Yes, we do have some specific requirements in mathematics and in physics. And I'm looking through my cards here in order to find the specific courses in mathematics in particular. Yes, including the courses you need to have on your transcript of records. That is linear algebra, mathematical theory, statistical theory, vector calculus, and complex functions. Those 4 courses have to be on your transcript of records. And if you know that you've studied this, but it says like mathematics 1 or 2, then you should upload the syllabus for the course where you study this, and our admissions department will be able to assess your knowledge. And in physics, you have to have a course in mechanics. So the same applies to this. If you don't have a course named mechanics, then upload your syllabus for the course where you've studied this.
Okay. Thank you. Next question from Rick is asking, is a bachelor in medicine enough to enter this course?
Well, you have to have an engineering background in your bachelor in order to be admitted. That is what I would say in general. And would you like to add anything there?
I do agree that it's mainly an engineering education with a strong focus on medicine. Actually, some of our students do start working in other types of companies where they can use their programming skills and so on. It's not like you sign up for lifetime doing biomedical engineering, but it is an engineering education.
Yeah, and you have to have an engineering in your bachelor's as well.
Okay. Thank you. Hope that answered the question from Rick. Zinab is asking if you also offer any biomedical course online. Is there an option?
No,
Anything
sorry to
online
say,
to follow?
there is no online option. All our engineering programs are on-campus programs. That's due to the heavy focus on collaborations, on group work, multidisciplinarity, etc. So all students need to be on campus in order to be able to use and develop in these areas.
Okay, thank you. Cecilia is asking about the admission procedure. Well, the requirements we talked about, but the admission procedure, is there anything else you can add to that?
Yes, of course. You can apply from now till January 16th. And you apply online at a website called universityadmissions.se. There you can apply to 4 different programs maximum. But remember that your ranking is important, because in Sweden you can only be admitted to 1 program. So number 1 is actually your top choice. Number 2, 3, and 4, they are more or less reserves for your first choice. And you should also check the country-specific requirements at university admissions. That is wise.
Okay. Thank you. I will share the link I did in the chat. I'll also share it now actually on the screen where you find the application procedure. There you go. There you can click on that link, and again it opens up to the sites that Carina was mentioning, universityadmissions.se. So that's where you can start the information, the application process and function as well. So hopefully that is useful to you. Okay, having said that, those were the questions we've received so far. So I hope that already gave a good overview. I did see a question in the chat asking, by the way, of people that at least the person joined later, if it's recorded. So yes, it is being recorded. So if you missed the beginning, then you will get the recording automatically. You can watch it again. Actually, once this is finished, it will restart within a minute. So you can even stay on and simply start from the beginning again. So hopefully that helps all of you. Having said that, also, we have opened up a couple of polling questions to you, as we like to get to know you a little bit better about your background and possibly when you're considering this program. So thank you for answering those poll questions if you haven't done so. Also for the people watching the recording, so you can also participate in the polling. So we'd like to hear from everybody. So go ahead and answer that if you before we finish the session. And at this stage, checking in if there's anything else, if there's any question. At this stage, I don't see any. So let's see if there's still any coming up. We still have a minute or so, a couple of minutes to take any questions. And yeah, I see we just got another one. So Hussein is asking, I would like to I would like to know if graduate assistantship positions are available to help in funding during the study.
I know there are students looking for assistance. Maybe you could develop there.
Sometimes, but it's only at a low pace, so you cannot earn too much. It's quite few hours, so to say, and that is good because it is a highly demanding program. You need to focus on the studies. Focusing on other things is kind of dangerous in that sense that you will increase your risk of failing in
Yeah.
program.
Yeah,
So,
we
but
don't
there are-
only want to
yeah,
admit our students, we also want them to leave as
definitely, yeah. It's not a walk in the park.
No, no.
You have to put in substantial effort to pass it.
Yeah. And I thought about something which is quite a common question, actually. Accommodation often comes up on the table. Could you bring something there, maybe?
Yeah, well, at least when I moved in, I think the accommodation rules were a bit different, but I would definitely suggest right now that everyone starts checking the web pages out there to start queuing up points. There's this queue system here in Sweden, very, very, at least popular here. The Studentbostäder is definitely the first one to check. There's a few others, depending on if you're staying in Norrköping or Linköping. So I would just say queue up, because it's definitely important. It's a very demanding.
Yeah, when it comes to accommodation, queuing is the main key. I usually recommend students, if you're interested in the program, thinking about applying, then also sign up for accommodation, because this is what the Swedish students do. So if you sign up and it's free of charge, then you start gaining queuing points. And the more queuing points you have in the middle of July, when they open up for the available rooms, the better are your chances of actually getting a dorm room or an apartment. Could you say anything about dorm rooms, maybe?
Dorm rooms were nice. I was there for the first year when I moved here. It was great to just meet other people. We lived in an 8-room dorm, so to speak, with a shared kitchen and a shared space. It was great to meet people there. I met a couple of my friends that I still chat to this day there. But then, of course, there are the opportunities of getting an apartment on your own, which is what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, I think it's quite usual, actually, that master students do move around. Not everybody found their favorite accommodation from the beginning.
Yeah,
so
it
I think it's quite usual.
depends on everyone that's living there. It's not about just one person, but it's 8 of you.
So that was a few recommendation. Anything else, Luke? Otherwise, I think we can. Say.
I was muted.
Yeah.
We did get another question in. Sorry. From Philip, following up on that, how does one queue up?
Yeah, you register online with studentbostäder.se or heimstaden.com. They are both available here in Linköping, and it's free of charge, as I said. So you just go online, you register, and if they ask for your personal number, which you don't have yet, then you just send them an email, and you're up in the system.
Can they find a link somewhere to Studentbostäder?
Yes, the link is the spelling of the name, studentbostäder.se. So we can send that out as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
And otherwise, I think I should say thank you a lot.
Thank you.
Both
We did get two more questions. I'm sorry.
Okay.
If we can still take those, because they're about the English tests. I see both. If okay, we can take that. One from Cecilia. If she can enroll with a Duolingo English test.
I can't say that by heart. I think she should go to the English requirements on the university admissions website. I know for sure that if she's done IELTS or TOEFL, those tests are fine. But at universityadmissions.se, she can also find other English tests which are available.
Okay. Thank you. And then we have another question that we got from English, from Zainab. I studied my bachelor in English and I have a certificate proving that. So the medium of instruction was English. Would it be enough to enroll to this program?
Well, it depends. I would recommend you to have a look at university admissions, because this also depends on where you have your bachelor's. So go online and check the section linked to English requirements in particular. That is my best advice. I don't want to give too much hope and then somebody's very disappointed.
Okay. Thank you. And let's see if there's any other question. I think at this stage, those were the questions we received. Yeah, no further questions at this stage. So we have the links in the chat. I also can mention we actually have a student community, which I'll also share in the chat with you. That is specifically designed for all of you students to help each other. So basically, you'll probably see already from people that joined you, there's people joining from several similar countries. So there's maybe people from your country that are looking to study this program. Housing was mentioned. You can maybe team up, find other people, help each other. So that's why we created that student community. You can click on the link, and after this webinar, right away, share this. We will also paste some useful links there. Do find the channel of Linköping University in that community, because they have their own channel, so to say, their own community. So having said that, we don't have further questions at this stage. And I have a last polling question, but I'll prepare that. And meanwhile, maybe over to you, Karina, for final words.
I would just like to say that, of course, if you want to chat with students onwards, you can go to our Instagram account. You can, of course, send a question to our international bloggers. And you're very welcome to send us an email. And hope to stay in touch with you. So thank you both. Thanks very much, Alfredo and Marcus. And thanks from us to all of you who have participated. Enjoy your day. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.